I know.
Bill, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming to the Tuesday, November 10th, 2015 meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. Before we get to our county legislator, I got a trivia question. Anyone know whose birthday we're celebrating today? Anybody? What?
My father.
Sean's father's birthday. No, it's the 240th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. So just give Marine wish him happy birthday. On that note, tomorrow is Veterans Day. They had a wonderful ceremony this morning at the Buckley Middle School, thanks to Ms. Wilson, who's been doing it for 20-some years. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock at the cemetery, the American Legion will be hosting a ceremony there. From there, we will go to, there he is, Joel Tyner, County Legislator.
Good evening. I apologize. I know everybody's missed my absence for the last few months. There's a couple new board members, different scheduling, so I'm here. Congratulations. Wanted to report on some good news, some bipartisan progress. This morning I participated in a press conference with the county executive down in Beacon about Energize New York and Sustainable Energy Loan Fund for businesses. This is not just in Beacon, this is for all over Dutchess County, including Rhinebeck and Clinton, Northern Dutchess, Southern Dutchess. What happened was Ulster County Legislator Manager Green had told me about a year ago about this program. Westchester's doing it, Orange is doing it, by now Ulster's opted in. Basically, very small, teeny tiny, low interest loans for businesses who want to do energy efficiency retrofits or go solar. And so I urge you to call the county planning department if you're interested, 486-3600. And I've been talking for the last 4 or 5 years about PACE, P-A-C-E, Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's finally happening. And the genius of it is they will not cut a deal with the business unless it can be proven that the business is cash positive from year one, that the savings on electric bills is more than what it costs to do the solar or the energy efficiency retrofit. So I just was kind of enthused about that. The piece of paper that I passed out to the board is a letter that I got signed. At least 4 of us in the legislature signed it last night. To the Public Service Commission, if you missed the front page of the Daily Freeman on Sunday, there's something called the REV, Reforming the Energy Vision. And so the letter basically says, it's echoing the work, again, of Manager Green and Citizens for Local Power. Central Hudson's scorecard should be put in customer bills, showing independently evaluated ratings of Central Hudson's progress in meeting energy reform goals. No permits for new fossil fuel pipelines. Community choice aggregation should be made much easier. We're way behind in Dutchess County compared to Ulster County. And again, community choice aggregation in Sonoma County is cutting electric bills by 25% for businesses, homeowners, and municipalities. If you go to localpower.com, citizensforlocalpower.com, sonomacleanpower.org, Dutchess County needs to get off the dime and follow the example of Ulster County and citizensforlocalpower.com. But this letter points out, and you can all speak, I urge everybody to come speak this Thursday at 6 o'clock at Kingston City Hall is the informational session. The public hearing starts at 7. I'm going to be there if anybody can be there. Central Hudson should be given timely access to utility data at cost, access to utility collected funds for community energy efficiency programs, and as Assemblyman Kevin Cahill's pointed out many a time, and local newspaper editorials, there should be a consumer advocate office to raise consumer awareness so that people know their rights. I'm doing a forum on the county budget locally here in Northern Dutchess. You're all invited. That's going to be Monday, November 30th at 5:30, right across the way at Rhinebeck Town Hall. The official annual big county budget hearing is going to be the following day, which is Tuesday, December 1st at 7 p.m. on the 6th floor of the county office building, 22 Market Street, if people can come out to that. Our next is going to be our 10th Repair Cafe is going to be Saturday, January 30th from noon to 4 p.m. And I would just say, when it comes to the county budget, it's a $450 million document. I can sometimes try to move mountains and make things happen. But it really, no man is an island. I can't do it alone. If the board, members of the board individually as a group, or other folks in the room, people watching at home, if you care about bringing the money back to Rhinebeck and Clinton, the sales tax revenue, if you care about making sure the Dutchess County Domestic Abuse Response Team protects women in all communities, right now it only covers Hyde Park, Poughkeepsie, and Beacon. If you care about bringing back a 5-day week for the senior friendship centers, if you care about restoring the youth programs like Big Brothers, Big Sisters used to be in the county budget, if you care about an Office of Consumer Affairs, we're just about the only county around that doesn't have a Consumer Affairs or the Human Rights Commission. There are ways to save no money down solar like Schenectady has for the county buildings, the reforms in the criminal justice system. And I'll just say one more thing. I participated in a big rally earlier. Former village board member Terry Gibson was there. There's $40 million in corporate welfare right now in Dutchess County. $40 million because we're subsidizing poverty wages being paid by large corporations that are paying their workers subpar wages, and we're paying for it. If you look at a May report from the University of Connecticut. So that's it. I'm at 464-2245, 876-2488. I have to run to the Clinton Town Board meeting. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thanks, Joel.
Yep.
So before we move on to our public hearings, we have a few of them tonight. As always, we have a flexible agenda. We'll be moving some things around. But I just wanted to establish some ground rules for the public hearing. There will be a 3-minute time limit for people to address the board. When you do come up to make comments, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, and it has to be at the microphone up front. Please keep your comments respectful and refrain from debate amongst the audience. So your comments should be directed to the members of the board that are considering the matter at hand as opposed to other members of the audience. With that, today we posted some sign-in sheets for all of the different agenda items, all the public hearings. So we have a couple here. It doesn't look like anybody signed up actually for any of the public hearings. So those should be quick public hearings. We do have another list for people that have other issues, and we ask that if you sign in and give us an idea what it is that you want to address the board on. And then this will be kind of standard operating procedure from here on out. That's going to be our timekeeper, so she'll give you a little wave when your time's up. So we're actually going to go to a non-agenda item, which we open and close the public hearing on the Louis Ruge property at 5 Chestnut Street at the October meeting, and we've had time to review that, and I have a resolution here, and I'll make a motion to adopt the zoning map change from residential district special sensitivity overlay to village center district special sensitivity overlay for the 5 Chestnut Street parcel.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Just note that the board has read the resolution that's prepared and you're adopting it as drafted.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. From there, we're going to stick with the zoning concept, and we're going to go on to the Louis Tumalo property located right next door. So before we open that public hearing, we're going to have a short presentation from Mark Romanski, who's going to explain a little bit of what's behind the proposed change.
Board like me to, I have multiple copies. I can put them on the table, or I can post.
Yeah, we should probably put one up there.
You can also pass out some copies for the board members too. What I've done is, I've prepared two plans. One is the original plan, if I can share it with the board members here. I have two plans. One is the original application that was made and presented at the last meeting of the village board. And then the second plan, which I prepared, is representative of, at the public hearing, while representing Tulo Realty LLC, heard some of the comments from the board and made a change to the plan. I wanted to present that tonight for continued discussion. So the plan I just set down is the change plan. This was the original plan. And so the change between the two is, the original application was for including all of the Tulo Realty Property LLC in, for the meeting. And I'll do a quick presentation for the public also. So what's on top is the first plan that was presented at the October public hearing, and then I'll get into the change. So this application is for Tulo Realty LLC. It's for property located on the east side of Route 9. And it's actually an L-shaped piece of property. See it here. So it's an L-shaped piece of property. Frontage on Route 9, and it comes in and drops in and has frontage on Chestnut Street. So the original application that was presented to this board at the October public hearing was for consideration of this property to be changed from its current zoning, which is residential district SSO, to a village center district SSO for consideration, since it's basically a commercial piece of property. It has Animal Hospital has resided on this property for how long, Lou? Over 60 years. 60 years. And so it just felt that it was appropriate to now have this in the village center district. At the public hearing, heard some comments and just comments from the board and also the public with regard to including all portions of this property which extended to Chestnut Street. So on this piece is access off of Route 9. The Animal Hospital is located on the eastern portion. I'll say the northeastern portion. And what was also associated with this property is a residence that has frontage on Chestnut Street, as I said, but also access off of Chestnut Street. And that residence was there, and Lou, maybe you can add in, that housed on the original property that was...
Right, that was Ken Gamir's house. Originally Homer Staley lived there.
Right.
And then Ken Gamir lived there, and that was the entrance to the animal hospital like 50 years ago. And then they moved it out to Route 9, and then this whole property got attached that way. So it's only been a residence since that time.
So this parcel configuration and the structures located there have been historically there for quite a while. And so, the first, as I said, first application was to include the entire parcel in the village center district. After hearing comments from the public and the board, if you flip to this second sheet, and I just stated it today, it now, shading's a little light on this, the proposal is to just include all the area and structures that are associated with the animal hospital only. So then the proposed zone change would, from residential district SSO to village center, would only include basically the animal hospital. The residence located on Chestnut Street would remain residential district SSO. And so that, I just wanted to be able to, on behalf of the Tumalo, to present that to the board this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing in regards to this property.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
So, do we have anybody on the list for that one? Is there anyone who would like to address the public in regards to this property?
No.
Come on up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Joseph Trabbione on 6460 on Montgomery Street. I think my question would be, if this is approved, has the board thought about the knock-on effect to other businesses today that are nearby that may use this as a precedent?
What was the
So-
effect that you?
Yeah, I mean, what did I think the board, have they thought about is if this is approved, this waiver, what's going to be the knock-on effect to other
No.
properties nearby who could say the same thing, that they've been commercial businesses for many years? And trying to sell a home that's been a commercial business for a long time, you generally can't get your money out. So what happens that economically it's a big impact. So if they can get this changed to sell it as a commercial property, it behooves them. So, I mean, having this done, I think, and then thinking about what's a knock-on effect is really important.
Can I just ask you where 6460 is in comparison to this?
It's right next to Haven Spa,
Okay.
so it's right there. And we bought a home in the village because, when we were told that it was historic, it was a charming old village, that they really cared and protected it, and we believed it. And so we came here for that. And what we're concerned about is, Mr. Tumalo's a very nice man, but thinking about how that also impacts the rest of the properties in that neighborhood. Because if I was Haven Spa and I'm trying to sell my spa and I can't sell it, I would be thinking, should I come to you and ask for a waiver? So that's my concern.
Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Fennell, and I also live on Montgomery Street, 6477 Montgomery. And it seems like to change the zoning from a residential zone to a commercial zone is a pretty big step, because historically those old houses have been there for so long, and I think that's part of the wonderful appeal of Rhinebeck. I've lived in that house for about 40 years and seen the changes, and certainly appreciate the fact that Dr. Tumalo is right down the street. But it is a residential zone. He has a pre-existing use, which is certainly appreciated. But how would this benefit anyone other than Dr. Tumalo to have this property changed from residential to commercial? That just goes to my point that it's a pretty serious step to change the zoning. Secondly, let's say it does happen and you change it to commercial, and hypothetically Dollar General comes along and buys the property. Can they, in fact, exercise their right to build a whole new commercial building there, and then it's a full-blown commercial property? It's not just the wonderful, quiet veterinary hospital. Can that happen?
You're asking if the Dollar General
Yes, please.
can knock down that building and build another one?
Or put one in the front yard, because it seems that the zoning trend is to put commercial buildings closer to the road. You have the whole front yard. The coverage in the commercial zone is greater than in the residential zone. So can that happen?
It would go to the planning board, I imagine, maybe
Not
some
likely.
answer. Yeah.
Not likely. Well, why is this so late that you're ready to change it from residential to commercial?
I wouldn't say that we're ready. I think we're just willing to listen to comments.
Okay.
It's in the historic district, so that would be pretty prohibitive for Dollar General to
Oh,
come.
that was just a horrible hypothetical.
Oh, okay.
It was to wake you up a little bit.
Well, you will, yeah, no.
So I guess that's just my fear, that once you make this change, it may be a bigger change than any of us anticipated. That's all. Thank you.
Anybody else? I think one of the reverse questions that we have, talked about in regards to that property is, it is a commercial property now, and what is the likelihood that it will be turned into a residence? I think that's something that we've all talked about, so it's a reverse question.
But, I mean, one of the things that if you're seeing in that area though is exactly that. That's a good point, and I think that what you're seeing in that neighborhood is exactly what we've done, right? We took a doctor's office that had been a commercial use for 50 years, and we built it back into a home I hope the village is proud of. And people across the street, Parandana, same thing. A&B has built another home right next door. So it's happening. Unfortunately, the people trying to sell the properties, if they could convert it into commercial, economically, it's incentivized for them. But is it a good thing for the village?
Scott, maybe you can speak to the use, like all these ones that have been at one time doctor's offices, that is,
It's still a pretty limited use. I mean, it's not like it could be a full-blown commercial. There's still just a limited list of types of uses that would still be permitted under this change. It's not open to any kind of commercial use, but I mean, I could read it off to you. It's, home occupation, professional office. It could be apartments, a bed and breakfast. Those are just permitted. There could be a nursing home or municipal use. I mean, those are the only ones that are really permitted. The rest of them all by special permit or not allowed at all. So it's still.
But after the change, I think, right, I think what happens is that if this is granted, what happens when people, Donna next door, who husband has a doctor's office for many years, and says, listen, I'm adjacent to this property, or I sell that lot next door to him, or the people coming in for Dollar General, then they have my house in hidden spot, says, you know what? Why should I be left out?
can you go over, that was the residential that you gave us?
Well, this is the village center.
Okay.
That's the village center. And I'm not exactly sure, but there was a medical office zone that most of those houses were already included in.
That was removed though.
Each and every one of them?
Yes, it was given to specifically just a few buildings near the hospital, the ones on the eastern side of, is that then Springbrook
Yep.
Avenue? So these houses no longer have that.
Any other comments? So I'll make the motion to adjourn this public hearing until December 10th, is it? Yeah. It's the December meeting. December 8th, so motion to adjourn this public hearing until December 8th.
Second.
Discussion? What's that?
Do you want to adjourn it or close it?
Adjourn it, I believe, because we don't have the.
Still circling?
It's entirely up to you. I mean, public comments sufficient, you can close the
Okay.
public hearing.
We'll adjourn it for now. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. So the next one we have, public hearing on two proposed amendments to the code, the vehicle and traffic code. Both are located, I'm gonna give a little summary here, what we're talking about. If you haven't noticed, we paved a lot, there's some more parking in the back for employees. The proposal is to reserve the two spots right here in front of Village Hall for village business only, during business hours, which would allow those people who are stopping in for a short period to pay their water bills or tickets, etc., easier access. That's the one, and the other is to reserve the spots in front of the police station a little further south on Center Street for police business only, which would then free up the spots that are currently allotted for them in the lot for employee, primarily employee and official vehicle parking. So it would, the goal is to improve access to the public that would be accessing this building and the police building. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on those two amendments to the vehicle and traffic code. Second. All in favor? Aye. Is there any comment from the public?
Paul Niederkorn, 132 East Market Street. In general, I think it's a good idea, but I would like to see it maybe a little bit expanded to not only the west side, but also the east side, and change the wording from village business to government business. So, you know, when you're coming here, you might be coming from the south, you're coming from East Market Street, and depending on which way you're coming, you want to park on one side or the other. Also, the mailbox is there, and I'm running, which I consider government business, to mail a letter, but it would be nice to have space there for, yes, running in and paying the bills, both in the town, the village, and using the mailbox. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I have, after talking to you the other day, I did reach out to the supervisor and explain to her what we're doing here, and, you know, I let the town know that we would be willing to work with them to make similar arrangements on their side of the street, and also if they were interested on East Market Street on their side, which would be directly in front of the door to the town hall, because now the side door has been locked for a while now, so you really need to access from the front.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from the public? So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing in regards to the vehicle and traffic amendments. Second. All in favor? Aye. Does anybody, you guys have any questions on this?
Yeah, did we get the comment on it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now?
No, it's good.
Okay, so I think this, the separate one, the police and the other one in front of the village hall, it should be one area. I'd like to get rid of this parking for police department business only, and just make it this one, combine this into this. So it's a 1 hour maximum, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in that area over there also.
Okay.
And since you've talked to the supervisor, are we gonna, in the future, do the other side of the road, or should we just do it all at once?
Did you talk to this, I mean, did she comment as to whether?
She said she would bring it to the town board.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with Howie, is that we should keep it as government business or Rhinebeck business, not limited to police and village business. I think that we'll allocate some spaces that probably will go unused for most of the time.
Okay.
And parking is a premium, so.
So we have two, would prefer to make it government, official business only?
Well, also the area in front of the police station.
Okay. Well, right now, the police department has about, what, 6 or 8 reserved spots, reserved for police business only? And we're talking about reducing that to 2. And the idea is most of the village hall employees, town hall employees as well, they park on Center Street and they park on East Market Street, and they take up all the spots that the public would typically use to access the building. So by completing this project here, we would allow at least the village employees to park out back and free up these spots for our residents. So. Any comment, Sean?
No,
No? Okay.
I think it's good to reserve parking for the residents, and I need to do business here, and
Okay. So
Most
we,
efficient way that we can do it is,
all right, so we've closed the public hearing and we'll table the resolution for this evening. The next one on the list is sidewalk sales. I think, do you want to give an update on that, Sean?
Sure.
Before we open the public hearing?
Yep, so we had a public comment period back on October 13th, and after receiving some comments from the public, we went back and tried to incorporate some of the comments into this ordinance to try and suit everybody's needs to the best of our ability. There weren't many large changes. I think that some of the highlight changes are in the fact that we limited the number of sales, all sidewalk sales, to 6 for the entire year. As far as the aisle that we want merchants to use so people can pass ingress, egress on the sidewalks, we want a 4-foot wide aisle. People can set up tables on either side of that aisle, so long as you're not less than a foot from the curb line, so people can open up their doors. Other than that, there weren't really any other significant changes. So I guess we can continue with the public hearing.
So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the proposed changes to the sidewalk. Second. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any comments from the public on the sidewalk sale?
Just a question. Should I come up?
Yes, please.
Piper Woods, 22 Winston Drive, and I'm property in the village. I just had a question about, I appreciate that you guys extended, made it more about the aisle compared to, does that mean you took out like the 3-foot, what was it? Did you take out basically that it could only be, originally you had it at something at like 3 feet from or that the displays could only go 3 feet from the facade of the building. Is that still in there, or is that been taken out because of now it's a 4-foot aisle?
That's for the 89-5 section, the 3 feet off the facade.
Okay. What's in the 89?
That's for exterior display.
That's exterior display, so that is basically a merchant's right to put out their goods at any time of the year. That's not participating in official sidewalk sale.
Okay, so that still remains the same, that they can only...
We're not changing that piece of the code.
Okay. Then the other question I had was in 89-7, there was, it required merchants to locate their display within the entrance outlet. And I was just wondering, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I guess my letter was read into the minutes, whatever. I was just wondering if you guys were able to answer that. Whether there was a conflict with ADA requirements or anything. And I don't know. I mean, entrance alcove, this is in the right, this is for sales, outdoor, sidewalks?
It's the same, yeah, that's the one that we're not changing. This is just strictly for sidewalk sale events.
Okay, so...
And then the other one that you're referring to is the exterior display by merchants, that's their right, which is within the alcove or within 3 feet of their building.
Okay, but it's, so, I guess, again, that's my question now. If you're requiring people to put their items within the entrance alcove, is that a conflict with somebody who's in a wheelchair? That's what I'm asking.
Well, they have to maintain egress.
Yeah, to the extent that there is a conflict, the ADA will
I'm
trump
just
this.
asking the question.
Yeah.
To me, it...
Laws and codes
like
would
in a-
supersede any of
Okay,
this stuff,
okay.
of course.
And then the rack, whatever, is still getting left at like the 3 feet. Yeah, okay, all right, thanks.
Anybody else? So make a motion to close public hearing on the sidewalk.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we're ready to vote on it?
Yep. Make a motion to approve the proposed sidewalk sale ordinance.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So next up is the garage sale proposed change, or proposed addition to the code. So after the last public hearing, I don't know, I see some interested parties out there. We did go back, based on feedback from the public, and make some significant changes to this. We eliminated the permitting process and just left it as a limit. So now it reads no more than 4 garage sales during a calendar year, and no more than 4 conducted on a single parcel. Also in that, we added another exemption for sales such as lemonade stands conducted by children under 12. We added the 15-foot, square foot for the table just for that part, for lemonade stands, etc. And because we eliminated the permitting process, so the spontaneous sales could still exist. There's no registration, no permitting, but there remains a limit. So the fines were adjusted upwards as a result of that. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the garage sale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the public on garage sales?
Paul Unicorn again. I'd just like to thank the board for being responsive to our concerns, and I think the revised law meets your requirements and lifts the burden off the general public that was there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'd like to echo Paul's thanks to all of you on the board for reevaluating, and I think the changes that you made are going to be beneficial to the community as well as any kind of enforcement. Just thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on garage sales? Make a motion to close the public hearing. We got it. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the garage sale resolution as submitted and reviewed by the board.
Second.
Discussion? All those in
Can I,
favor?
one suggestion?
Yes.
In, under the purpose section, instead of official enterprise, do we have commercial enterprise? Second to last word.
Commercial enterprise?
Yeah.
Rick?
That's fine.
And then the motion to read commercial as opposed to official? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We do have a list of some other public comments. Just looking at the list here to see where we're getting to. I think we'll go to Karen for the treasurer's report on
Good evening. My treasurer's report is for the period ending October 31st. The general fund ended the month with $1,224,327.25. The water fund ended the month with $600,633.60. And the sewer fund ended the month with $697,052.32. The vouchers presented for payment, the prepaids, the general fund was $15,555.74. The water fund, $10,379.50. And the sewer fund, $10,429.72. The November vouchers presented in the general fund total $50,343.89. In the water fund, $25,323.71. In the sewer fund, $13,464.64. And there is an escrow payment of $593.80. And a capital project expense for parking in the amount of $967. I request a transfer of funds from the capital project parking to the consolidated checking for the $967 for the Village Hall parking lot. Do you want me to just go through all of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just would like to also report that the November 2015 expense and revenue operating statement has been distributed to the board. I emailed it to everyone, and I do have some hard copies if you'd like that afterwards. The payroll, I asked the board to consider preparing payroll in-house, and I have presented to you in your packet a proposal. So I ask you to consider that for the next board meeting. The water and sewer adjustments were reviewed and signed off by the water and the sewer liaisons. And I asked the board for a resolution to authorize the presented adjustments. And the utility billing, SCA is the software that we use for our utility billing. And they are offering online water and sewer payments for an additional $300 annual maintenance fee. We have requests for people that would like to pay their water and sewer bills online, but we aren't able to do that at this time. So they'll be able to come right in, it'll credit their account. And for the $300 a year maintenance fee, it sounds like it's really a good service that they provide. So I'm asking the board to consider that and authorize offering those payments.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to approve the vouchers as submitted.
Second.
Sounds like that's an all in favor, right? All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion to approve the transfer of funds from capital parking to consolidated checking for the striping of the lot halfway.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Who wants to do the water and sewer adjustments?
I'll make a motion that we approve the water and sewer adjustments as outlined by Karen in her report.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Do you guys have any questions about the credit card payments online before we?
Yes, I'd like to have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, Karen, is there any fee to the village for processing online transactions?
No, there isn't. They are handling all of the fees, and we will just receive just what the village is owed for the water and sewer bill itself.
What was the $300
It's the maintenance fee for the website, because it's not exactly our website, but it's just their interfacing website that ties into our utility billing program.
Is that a one-time fee?
No, it's annually.
We're paying them $300 to allow us to collect money through credit card or online payment.
And they provide us with a report every day, or every week, or every time there's a transaction. So, and then they're also, the money is deposited into either a water or sewer fund. So there is some maintenance on their end to provide the service.
And this is through the company that currently provides our wastewater and water billing software?
Yes.
So just to be clear, they would deposit it directly against that account and it would go into sewer or water fund. We don't have to do that manually like we do a check when it gets here.
Correct.
So there would be some time saving for us.
And a convenience for our residents.
Right. So they don't have to come in here or mail it. Yeah. So we don't need the parking.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Scrap that parking lot. Is there something here for us to approve, or?
Yeah, we would approve it if we. Any more questions on it for Karen?
Does that come out of the water fund, the $300?
I'm going to split it.
You're gonna
And
split
the
it?
responsibility for the,
Half water, half sewer.
Responsibility for the security protocol, stuff like that, it's all taken care of by this company.
Sounds like a no-brainer, $300.
well, they get the 3%. They collect, right, they collect
Correct.
from the customer would pay a transaction fee,
A convenience.
convenience fee
Right.
on a credit card. Whereas a typical merchant they would pay that percentage because we're a government entity, we cannot pay that, correct? That's why it gets taxed on the
Cannot pay
customer's
it.
bill.
Nor can we collect it, correct.
Right. So I'll make the motion to move forward with the online software package through SCA.
Second.
Discussion. All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you.
And then you see the proposal for the payroll that Karen provided. Take a look at it and let's try to work out any questions, because we need a 3-week lead time, which would set us up for the first pay period in 2016. Water Department?
I'd like to present the report for the month ending October 2015, the water treatment plant and the distribution system. Overall, for the water treatment plant, it's pretty much status quo. We've had no operational issues, and we processed a total of 13,203 gallons in the last month, which is pretty much on line with what we did the previous month, with 13,900 gallons in the previous month. In the distribution system, I think most of the residents are aware that we've been doing the hydrant flushing. This is a good maintenance procedure, and so we've completed the flushing in the village and in the Rhinecliff district, in the hamlet of Rhinecliff. I apologize if you have any brown water as a result of that, and I appreciate your cooperation as we extend that effort to continue doing the flushing to help the maintenance of the water distribution system. In new news, up at the Violet Hill storage tank, we've had an ongoing discussion amongst the board of how to properly maintain that property. In the past, we've had that property mowed or not mowed or maintained over a period, and it's become somewhat of an eyesore with a lot of weeds growing up. So what we did was we were brainstorming the idea, and it actually came out of the water department, to actually take the advantage of Green Goats. And Green Goats is an organization that goes around and they have their goats distributed in various places around New York, where they put them in areas where it's difficult to maintain and difficult to mow, which is the exact definition of what we have up the reservoir at Violet Hill. We brought the Green Goats organization in. They were very pleased with the site. They thought it was a perfect site to do this, with the advantage that it was fenced in and the goats would be in a safe environment while they're up there. So we, as a board, we took the opportunity to conduct a trial period, and we do have goats up there right now, approximately 30 goats who are maintaining that property. This is only a trial period to see how they work out and how they do for that. We have a shelter for them for the weather, so if weather is bad, so they can be protected. So that's an ongoing process right now in terms of the maintenance, and we'll see how that is proceeding up at the storage tank. The other project we have going on is the lagoon sludge removal. We currently had a bid out with a bidder that had bid on the 3-phase project over 3 years. And when the bid went out, the bidder agreed and signed to it, but as I reported last month, he was unable to execute against that clean out. He had difficulty with the density of the sludge that was in the lagoon, and also navigating the road that was to the water treatment plant. We have not made, I apologize to say, we have not made any progress on that. We reached out to other cities and municipalities who have used the same process to see what they did to handle the density, and we're trying to get feedback from them to understand what we can do to make that acceptable. The road, I'm not really sure what we can do about the road. The road is going to be an impasse, and I think no matter how we proceed, I think the bidder that we have is going to have difficulty and going to require us to do a lot of maintenance or a lot of repair work to the road before that would be acceptable for them to use. The road was outlined in a bid. It was defined, it was labeled, there was a map. They were supposed to do a trial in terms of testing out the road, but when it came to actually time to execute, they were unable to get their trucks in to do the cleanup. So that process we have to discuss in terms of, as a board, to see how we want to go forward to move forward. The bid that was signed, the contractor has until May 31st to execute on his first year. So there's no detrimental by not getting it done now, but he has until May 31st to execute that first phase. So it's an ongoing discussion, and I'll keep the board and the public aware of what's going on there. And that's it.
So working off of our list here, I'd like to invite Frank Santa Maria up. Your comments are relative to the goats. So we're slightly out of order, but come on up.
Evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Luke, thanks a lot for your service. Anyone else who served, thank you very much. I'm gonna, and this is less than 4 minutes. On the eve of Veterans Day, I'm reminded of the sacrifice made from our active military folks and the veterans who have served. Three words which come to mind are honor, valor, and fidelity. These 3 words, honor, valor, and fidelity, are inscribed on honorable discharge papers when a service member exits out of the active military duty and becomes a civilian again. I know these 3 words because I'm a veteran myself. Please allow me to address the first word, which is honor. This word is so central and vital because of what honor means, which is honesty, fairness, high respect, revere, to show a courteous regard for. Who growing up has never heard, honor thy neighbor? So what is Ike, Emil, Catherine, Scott, Rosie, Frank, Mariana, Tom, Lisa, Ron, Joanne, Jim, Mary, Scott, Kristen, Tan, Lena, Peggy, and myself, and the village of Rhinebeck all have in common? We all have property or reside on Hiley Road. And this is known also as the train subdivision, which has strict deed restrictions. So what is it to be a good neighbor, right? Being a good neighbor helps make your neighborhood a better place to live. And communicating with your neighbor is essential. Above all, touch base with your neighbors and keep them in the loop. Please remember the golden rule, and if anything you are planning to do may affect them, minimize it and let them know in advance. Keep the channels of communication open by reminding them that if you're going to do anything which may disturb them, you should notify them and they should feel comfortable approaching you about it. Did it ever occur to the Village of Rhinebeck Board to notify the residents of Hiley Road in writing about your intentions of bringing goats into this deed-restricted neighborhood before a decision was made? And I quote from the deed: "No poultry, livestock, or animals of any kind whatever, except household pets, shall be kept housed or permitted to remain upon said premises." Did it ever occur to anyone to be a good neighbor and abide by the deed restrictions placed on this neighborhood? Is the village of Rhinebeck exempt from being a good neighbor? Do you believe in your hearts that the village of Rhinebeck is exempt from allowing the residents of Hiley Road the peace and quiet from the town of Rhinebeck, New York, 125-58 noise regulation, which states, I have a minute left, please let me finish. Domestic animals and birds that frequently or for continued duration make or create a noise disturbance across a residential real property line. Does anyone really believe that these goats would not make a nuisance and create a great deal of noise? Is the village of Rhinebeck exempt from creating noise and disturbing the peace and quiet which any other neighbor would never dream of creating? Is this what a good neighbor does to their neighbors, and is this a neighborly situation that the Hiley Road residents must simply accept because the village of Rhinebeck feels they are exempt from allowing peace and quiet in a deed-restricted neighborhood? It's been stated to me in several conversations from law enforcement and from employees working in the village of Rhinebeck, which is also exempt because that the village of Rhinebeck property is in an agricultural or forestry zone. Do you believe in your hearts that this is true?
4 minutes. Frank, the limit's 3 minutes, you're over 4. Are you coming to a conclusion?
Yes, sir, I only have one paragraph left.
Okay.
Thank you. Please ask yourself, would you agree that the residents of Hiley Road have been kept exempt from any decision-making about bringing goats into a deed-restricted neighborhood before any decisions were made by the village of Rhinebeck? I would humbly ask you to consider these questions and answer them honorably amongst yourselves. In closing, the public is told village and town and residents work in an open government. Does this situation appear to be that? Thank you. And I'll leave you with this. Thank you so much for listening to me and giving me the extra minute.
Thanks, Frank. I think I can address some of the questions truthfully, honorably. Right now, I know in terms of the deed restriction, we did research that the village property the acquisition of the village property predated the subdivision and therefore is not subject to that deed restriction. That's been researched extensively. On that note, we did hold a public meeting. We did discuss this project in an open forum. We did discuss it with the town. Prior to moving forward, the town is in support of the project. In terms of the notification, you know, you mentioned good neighbors sending letters. Probably even better neighbors reach out personally, which is what we did. As we've discussed, my first call was to your wife, as you are the immediate neighbors. The village clerk called every residence on Hiley Road to let them know prior to the goats coming on site. I believe that you asked a question about is the village exempt, and I believe the answer is yes. Municipal property is exempt. You brought up the noise regulations. You read the section about animals, and you omitted the section that exempts livestock, goats being livestock, not domestic animals. And lastly, the noise produced by the goats in no way approaches the limits imposed by the town of Rhinebeck's noise regulation. They do have, in response to past problems, they have purchased a decibel meter, but I don't think we are anywhere near approaching a noise level that would break their code. Most of us have been up there. I've spent a couple of visits up there, and I haven't heard a single noise from a single goat. I know Gary's been there, Howie's been up there. They're pretty much silent creatures on that site. And
I went there twice, once at 4:30 in the afternoon and at 9:30 at night. I just stayed there for 15 minutes, didn't hear any noise. Are you hearing noise, Frank?
Oh, yes.
You are. Nobody else in the whole division is
We
here.
live there 24 hours a day, 7 days a
You're
week.
hearing noise.
and animals make noise.
You're hearing the
And
noise.
I didn't say, I'm not disputing. I never said that the town wasn't exempt. I asked if the town was exempt from being a good neighbor, knowing that this is a deed restricted neighborhood, that we've spent a lot of money to live there, a lot.
Can I ask a
For the
question?
simple reason that they had these deed restrictions.
Are you representing all the residents of Hiley Road standing there, or are you representing yourself?
I'm not gonna speak for anyone else other than myself right now. Yeah, I wouldn't do such a
Is
thing.
there anybody else here from Hiley Road?
No, I actually have spoken to several of my neighbors, and I'm here for that reason alone, because, you know, they don't really want to approach the village about this issue. I mean, I had one gentleman call me specifically and said, "Can you believe what I was just told?" Now, I'm happy to bring that individual up front, but people don't generally want to bring these issues up because they have to live in the community, and we all know what happened. I mean, there's this old saying that goes on, you can't fight City Hall. And
Well, thank you,
it's
Frank.
hard.
This, you know, we've been through it.
Yeah.
We've heard your concern. You know, we'll note that we have received positive feedback from multiple neighbors, some identifying themselves as the biggest and second biggest fans of the goats. We've had photos of children in front of the goats visiting. So again, thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
comment.
Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing? This is only a 3-week period, right?
Well, there is a trial period, it's not limited to 3 weeks, it was based on, the trial period was based on weather, and, you know, with anticipation that when we put them there, we're in our second week now, with anticipation that colder weather would come in, and we would not want to keep the goats there for an extended period during colder weather, but it is weather dependent, and it is still just a trial period. Even if we have, as Noah predicts, a mild winter, we're not going to keep them there all winter. It's just a very short period to try to see how well they work and what kind of job they do.
How are they doing?
So far, so good. I think you know, they're really mowing down the place, per se.
So from there, we'll go to the wastewater department.
Okay, everything's pretty quiet down in the wastewater department. There's no goats. But we treated 3.6 million gallons of wastewater for the month of October. We also hired a new employee, Stuart Bacon, so we welcome him to our department. Seems to be coming along quite nicely. And then we also put out last week to rebid the Headworks project, because when we initially put that project out to bid, we thought that the number was going to come in around, I think, 110 or 90,000, somewhere thereabouts, and it actually came in, the lowest bidder was like $60,000 over that. So we revisited that and tried to zero in on some of the issues that might have caused the bids to be out of line with what we had initially anticipated, and we put that out to rebid last week, and we look forward to receiving bids on that. In other words, there's not else to report.
Okay, so we do have Piers and Joan Lishman. Yeah. So that, come on up, we got a list or a comment relative to the wastewater department.
My wife's a bit shy, she wouldn't come up. But this is her there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the board and all the citizens. We came to Rhinebeck, and I'll keep this brief, the preliminary, about 3 years ago, because I've traveled all over the United States. Despite my accent, I've been here 35 years, from England originally. And this is the nicest town I have found in all my travels in the United States. We had a nice place in Ulster County, near High Falls, Stonebridge, you probably all know it. I built a second home there, up on the mountain. But it was time to move into a small town, and we selected Rhinebeck. We live in the woods, and we were looking for something quiet. And to cut to the chase, we are thrilled to be here, except that the Astor Drive Headworks sewer treatment plant is noisy. And we did approach the board on this because we are close to the road. Our unit is close to the road. There are about 8 units that are close to the road where you can hear the fans very distinctly. And I came here about 2.5, 3 years ago and got a very good reception from the then mayor. We had Brandt Munica, is it? Who acted extremely promptly and put some sound absorbing pads along the railing around those pumps, around those fans, which helped. I now see they've been removed, and he's no longer, of course, on the board. 2 things. Is there some short-term things that can be done to reduce that noise? And secondly, we saw that this Headworks sewer treatment plant is scheduled to be a building to cover that unit, or could we misread that?
So the Headworks project is intended to be a building that covers over where the waste comes in to our system.
Okay.
We hope to have, it's going to be covered, so to the extent any noise emits from there, we would think that that would be mitigated by the building. And then also, the structure is also supposed to provide, reduce the emission of smells and odors as well.
Sure.
The fans that you're talking about, are they located close to the road, or are they back at the?
They're up the hill.
Up the hill.
Yes. Is that the area you're going to cover?
No, this is going to be close to the road.
I see.
Okay. The reason why the sound absorbing pads were removed, I'm not aware of, but I'll look into that for you.
Okay.
See if it's possible. Did that help mitigate the
It helped a bit.
issue?
It helped a bit, yes.
Okay.
We still get enough noise that we can't really use the decks. And we can't leave the windows open in the summer at night.
And is this, so is it a continuous noise?
Yes, 24/7. Somebody who may or may not know what they're talking about said that probably those fans are fairly old and that there might be new equipment that could be quieter. Something perhaps worth looking at.
Yeah, that level of detail I'm really not aware of, but I'll certainly look into it, and if you already provided your contact information.
I'll leave you my email as well, because that's
Sure, you don't have to do that.
That's great. And Gary Hack of the HOA board supports this very much. You probably all know him, Gary, and he's been to the unit and heard it. So if there's anything that we can do to allay it even by 50%, it would be quite terrific. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You can take card right now.
Fire department?
I don't have a report, but the fire department's here to
Thank you.
inform us of the truck committees here, and they have come to a conclusion of writing the spec for the new attack truck, a replacement for 5914 truck that we've been talking about replacing for quite some time, one that we've done some pretty major repairs to over the last couple of years to keep it in service. And now this has come to a conclusion. The committee's here to talk to us about what they've specified.
Does anybody have the report? Anybody here have the report? The monthly report, like all the calls and everything?
Ask the chief. You have this, guys, correct, from last meeting?
Yes, I didn't bring it up.
Copy?
I did.
Okay, I have this book as a copy.
Okay.
Let me show you the report. Hi, I'm Darren Forbes. I'm the Assistant Chief in Rhinebeck Fire Department. As you know, the village board went over and had a review of our apparatus downstairs.
And 2 of our rigs that protect the town for fire protection are over 25 years old. And the one that we're looking right now to replace is a 1989 E1, which is 26 years old, and it's our main attack rig. We've spent loads of money repairing that in the last few years, and quite a bit of our budget goes to maintain the working status of that fire truck. So with that, about 1.5 years ago, we formed a committee to look into speccing out a new fire truck for the village and the town that we protect. This would be a 1,500-gallon tanker and also an attack rig, the same as the one downstairs, meaning it would have the equipment needed to put out a fire and be the main source of water to put the fire out. It has attack lines on it. Attack lines are fire hoses. People are laymen that don't know. I have a 140-page spec on what the new fire truck would entail or need to have. It took us 1.5 years to put that together. We've broken it down so we don't have a lot of bells and whistles on it. It's a bare basics fire truck. We're looking to save money for the village too. Most of us live here. But we do need to replace the fire engine that we have. I would venture to say, because of its age, it would cost more to maintain the one we have than to replace the one we're looking at over the course of a few years. And with that, I would present the specs that we have in this book. We'd like to have that go out to bid to manufacturers of fire apparatus within, I think we broke it down to a 100-mile radius. And we're looking to probably have a fire engine around $400,000 it would cost. And I believe your study said that the replacement of our apparatus downstairs, 5914, would probably be over $500,000. So, like I said, a lot of thought and effort went into this plan, and I think that it's a good plan and would help save the village quite a bit of money over the years. Okay, any questions on our specs? I know you guys have been in the process of working with this quite a bit too, and Scott knows a lot about it.
You said, I think you made a mistake, you said manufactured within 100 miles, you mean the sales?
Yeah. Sales, yeah. It was
sales.
Who we purchased it from. Yeah. It's manufactured wherever in the United States.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're manufactured even over the West Coast. Depends on who. But the actual people we're buying it from would be within 100 miles.
Right. Just for servicing, it just doesn't make any sense to have to send it back
No,
anything
no,
further
right.
than 100. That's why.
And the people we would buy it from would have to have a service facility in order to repair our equipment too. So,
What's the intended use for the vehicle that's going to be retired? Is there any value in it that we
that's
salvage value or anything like that?
very little.
Yeah.
Over the course of the years, I've seen fire trucks were sold that were old and you don't get very much for it. I couldn't even tell you how much. I would venture to say less than $30,000, I'm sure.
So some of the good things. So it's a little bit of a deviation from the report that we got from Barry Nietzsche's. Barry had recommended a full-blown tanker and a lot of different things, and I've sat with this group a couple of different times, and the reasoning for this is that this is 500 gallons more, right, than 14, so this is a 1,500-gallon tank in this truck. It's a little bit smaller than, what's the other?
32.
Than 32.
It has a better turning radius and would be very good for village streets. It's a lot easier to maneuver than the one we currently have even. It's better than 14. It gives us 3,000 gallons of water in the 2 engines on the floor and 500 gallons on our rescue truck. But and the standards for insurance, if we can bring up what we have on the floor to 4,000 gallons, insurance rates can go down in our protected district, which might be good.
Yeah, that's the goal, to try to get 4,000.
It just takes steps to get there.
Well, what's the next step to get to 4,000 and the 1,500?
We'd have to get another engine for a rescue truck with water on it. So
What does 32 have now?
1,500. Getting anything bigger than 1,500 is very difficult to have. It's volunteers and not professional truck drivers. It's big for village streets.
We want 3 1,500s, basically.
No. You want a rescue truck, you need a rescue truck to replace.
We're going to have 3,000 between the 2 trucks.
Right.
And so we need
Need
to
another
have
1,000.
500.
No, we have 35 on the
Right,
road.
3,500 right now.
Right, but if we get rid of one, if we replace another one.
Oh, yeah, you can go up by.
You would need 1,000.
Yeah, okay. And that would be the next step, is to replace,
Yeah, you're talking a couple of years, I'm sure, down the road. And this takes well over a year to produce, once it's accepted. So if we accept the bid, and that might be in March or April, it'll be at least a year from then before we take reception of it.
So it's a move in the right direction as far as increasing the water on the floor.
so who prepared the binder? Who wrote the specs that are gonna go?
The
out to
committee.
bid? So the committee
Yeah.
wrote that, okay. So they're,
Here, I'll show you what I have. I can give you this book. It has,
but based on what's in there, we would expect multiple manufacturers to be able to meet the needs
Yes.
of this?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a standard fire truck. There's some standards in there, I'm sure that some will not meet, but that's, I think we want what's in that. And if we don't have something close to that, it doesn't meet our needs.
Right.
I think one thing is we just want to be assured that we can get multiple bids, that.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I went through that and I didn't see anything that was,
Yeah, that's-
not that I know that every manufacturer, what they do and what they don't do, but it didn't seem so specific that we couldn't get it.
In the course of a year and a half, we spoke to at least 8 different manufacturing companies that produce fire trucks.
So Darren, that's what I was gonna ask. You've reached out already to,
Quite a few,
and so you have a good idea of what's available
right,
and what can be built,
yes.
right? And
Yeah.
you know, a minimum.
We sat down with some of their people,
Sure.
and we didn't write this all ourselves, we're not engineers, so.
In terms of occupancy, I mean, one of
It's
the issues
six.
is always getting water there, but it's also getting people,
Right,
right? So this will take you up to, this will increase your occupancy that you have over 14 now, right?
it's the same, it's
It's the
6,
same?
it's 6, but 32 carries 8 firefighters, and this carries 6. But you can't wait around for 8 people to show up to get a fire truck.
We have limitations on size too, to get the trucks into the garage. One of the other things too is there's a certain amount of equipment that's coming off of 14 that's transferable into this.
Oh, yeah,
So there's-
we're not buying brand new equipment to put on the fire truck, it will be transferred over. We will eventually need new scout packs because the expiration dates are coming up on them and they're expensive. But everything we have will be transferred over to the new engine. It does, I mean, NFPA standards, it does come with a ladder, it comes with certain things, it's fire extinguishers, ladders, pipe bowls, to make it an engine. It's a standard that we have to go by, it's mandated. So we can't transfer our ladders, but we'll accept the new ones, kindly.
While you're here, has there been anything on the consultant that is supposed to come and talk to us about the discussions of merger that took place?
As far as districts go?
Yeah.
No, we've looked into some of it. We haven't come to a decision what we would like to do yet. I know the town would like us to probably do that, but there's a lot of procedure to leaving a village and becoming a district.
Right. I think we were waiting for a consultant that was gonna come talk about the pros and cons.
Yeah, and that's been attempted a couple of times, and just the timing isn't
So that's,
available.
is it pending or is it just not?
Oh, it's pending, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And one more thing, how about Pokey?
Where's it going?
Pokey's spending the winter with us?
Looks like it.
What happened?
I don't know, we need to use it a couple times during the winter supposedly.
Well, we're getting it ready for demonstrations in the spring, and we want to go over how to properly use it.
This is true. And Vern Sipperly, he's supposed to come down here and show a lot of the newer guys.
And we wouldn't have access to
Yeah.
it at the fairgrounds.
And Vernon's getting older, so we'd like to pick his brain before,
Okay.
Before Pokey is used next spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you thinking about going into any of those musters?
We may,
Yeah.
not for competition.
Yeah, Vern has a lot of knowledge with that, and a lot of us don't, so it's important. Anything else?
You gonna speak to the stretcher piece?
Oh, I can. We spec'd out our ambulance, when we first had purchased this new stretcher, equipment's very expensive, so bear with me. You won't believe it's $30,000 what we're looking at, but it is. Lifting a person onto a stretcher and lifting the stretcher, even though we have mechanical legs, you still have to hold the stretcher at level with the ambulance and stretch the person, or slide the stretcher into the ambulance. So this device we're looking at actually will pick up the stretcher at a certain level. The legs will come up, like they do automatically, and then slide the patient into the ambulance without any undue strain on the person, the attendant working the stretcher. It will save a lot of, I think, potential back injuries, strains, what have you. The fire department has agreed to pick up a third of the cost. So and that's actually picking up this year's cost. And we will work the remainder into 2 years of the budget in the future. So I think it's a no-brainer to get. We're not.
It works with the Stryker, so we own.
It does.
We own the Stryker.
We own the Stryker stretcher.
Okay.
It's a Stryker device.
Right.
To replace the stretcher is $15,000 too. Right. So Stryker's the brand we're going with. That's the one we have. It works great. They're going to retrofit our stretcher in that cost. Plus, we're getting a stair chair that will help carry somebody down flight of stairs. It has a track on the back of the chair. And that way you don't have to lift the patient all the way down flights of stairs, especially in Village Green and places like that, where you're carrying patients out and you get the whole body weight of a person with only 2 people able to carry it. The way the handles are set up, and the staircases are narrow. So it'll save, I think, injuries and the potential for, that type of thing.
So it's $30,000 and it's no interest over 3 years.
3 years.
So so I don't know if there was any confusion over it.
Well, we would like to see the specs, exactly what we're doing and what the proposal is. I know I saw a credit application that.
It's actually not a credit application, but.
Yeah, it's for the 0% down to finance it over
Right.
3 years. In order for us to incur debt moving into future budget years, then we would have to have the board approval that we can't just plan for it in the next budget. So we would, maybe if we can get, what's the time?
I think January. Chrissy Amy, the captain of the rescue squad, has all that information. But
maybe she can bring it to us. We thought she'd be here tonight to present it, but we have a workshop on Thursday evening, so maybe on Thursday.
Sure she does. Yeah.
She could bring it by for us and.
Okay. Look into it more.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I appreciate that.
Darren, the ambulance doesn't have to change when you update the Stryker, do you?
It doesn't change. They put a track on the floor, which.
But the space constraints and everything.
No, the spacing's perfect for it. They come in, they put it together for us. So. It's a good device. As you know.
And I think Karen went through with Chrissy what exactly we need to identify it as a sole provider of that piece.
Oh, because it's Stryker?
Yeah, there's some
Not to have a
statement.
different manufacturer?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it has to be a Stryker, so we need some kind of statement between Rich and Karen, the treasurer.
Okay.
We can meet that requirement somehow.
Right.
With the statement.
Okay.
Darren, just one more question, only because I'm not as familiar with it as you are. I know one of the constraints on all of the structures is a weight limit.
Yeah.
And in our society, we seem to be approaching the weight limit a lot. So is this a reduced weight limit when you go to the full lift?
No, it's built for 700 pounds, which is a stretcher's max is 700 pounds.
Yeah.
So the device itself will hold 700 pounds parallel and slide it into the ambulance.
We don't lose any capacity by putting those drawer slides out there.
No.
In fact, it's even larger than some of the capacities on some of the ambulances.
It is, yeah. And then the retrofit will have almost like a scoop type pad to lay the patient on now instead of just flat. It'll be kind of rounded so it holds in place better. Like you said, patients are getting larger and we're getting older, so it's hard to lift these patients a lot of times. So,
And the stair chairs, that's going in the next budget, or that's something we already?
this is all part of that same zero finance. It's all part of the purchase package.
Oh, so we're getting more than one piece of equipment?
It's 2 pieces, yeah.
Okay. How much is the stair
I
chair?
couldn't tell you.
Okay,
It's part of the $30,000 cost.
gotcha. All right,
So, okay?
thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, one more question. If that goes to bid, we have to meet, I'm sure, again before we actually send it out with you, or do you guys?
Which
send
part,
it?
the truck you're
For
talking
the
about?
engine, yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to put a bid package together.
Yeah.
Right,
So you take that binder and then Rich adds another binder?
right. I'm sure there's some specifics with the lawyers we'll have to talk about too.
Exactly,
Okay, I'm just gonna give this to Scott and then done, thank you.
Okay.
That goes with my quote.
Okay, here it is.
Okay, thanks.
So it looks like we do have the call report. Scott's gonna give it to us.
Yes. The monthly call report for October, there was 16 EMS responses in the town, 27 in the village, for a total of 43. There was 9 fire responses in the town and 16 in the village. We provided mutual aid on 3 occasions for a total of 28 calls. There was 5 motor vehicle accidents in the town, 2 in the village, for a total of 7. So we provided a total of 30 calls we went to 30 calls in the town, 45 in the village, mutual aid 3 times, for a total of 78 calls in the month of October.
Thanks, Scott. Howie?
Highway Department.
Highway.
Okay, as you all know here, the village parking lot was completed here last month. Highway Department also did road repairs and blacktop on Center Street and Locust Grove Road. They have assisted the Water Department in hydrant repairs. They installed a water meter. No, the water meter was installed at the highway garage by the Water Department. Mulch deliveries were completed. We have mulch for sale, as I say, almost every month for $20 a yard. You call the Village Hall, 876-7015, and we can arrange for delivery. It's free within the village, and there's a small fee for within the town. Leaf pickup and brush pickup was done on both the north and south sides. And John Fenton, the Superintendent of Public Works, is requesting from the board the status of our brush and leaf pickup schedule that we talked about for 2016. Maybe we can talk about that Thursday night.
Yeah, I talked to John today. I think the plan is to have it ready to go with the quarterly billing starting in January. So
Okay.
January, February, March, it'll go out with the water bills, the notice of what the schedule's gonna look like moving into the spring. Rich, do we have any update on our potential code change on the brush and leaf pickup?
I'll get it for you next month. I was working on all of these.
Okay, sounds good.
John's requesting a final date for leaf and brush pickups. I assume he means this year. Usually we kind of wind up the first week of December. Of course, it depends on if it snows. But usually all the leaf and brush is picked up by the first week of December. John is also requesting to install a partition wall with a door in the room next door here in the building and zoning office. He's estimated the cost to be $550.
Looks like he dropped a towel on that.
Oh, he did. $420.
Today's estimate.
And the work will be done in-house. So I guess this is for the materials.
Correct.
$420 worth of materials. So do we have to get approval from the board to install that wall?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, I make a motion.
Well, go ahead, make
Okay, make a motion to install a partition wall with a door in the building and zoning office. This would split the office evenly in half. And the estimated cost is $420 for materials.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. So the reason or the motive is, as we know, John, is the superintendent of public works and the code enforcement officer, and he shares the office, and so on a regular basis, he's meeting with the department heads, and he feels like he needs some privacy in the office to conduct his supervisory business. So,
Makes sense.
which,
Does it work as far as heat, windows, all that different layout?
that's, we'll have to look at that. I asked him about the ceiling was my first question. So, I mean, I think we could, do you want to take a look at it?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll table it?
You can approve it. You want to approve it?
Approve it?
Oh.
Pending the approval?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pending our layout.
Any more discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So while we agreed on that?
Yeah.
Okay, while we're on highway, streets, we have, in order to move forward with the West Market Street drainage project, we need to pass a resolution.
It's basically memorializing the village's obligation for maintenance in the DOT right away.
What Rich said, memorializing, yeah, so I got thrown off because it said prepared by Erdman Anthony, which it was. I thought we had the wrong thing, but Erdman Anthony did prepare it, and now Crawford is finishing it, so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I think we do have two patient.
Are we ready to go with that? Just update
Yeah.
on that project? Is it?
Yeah.
It's out for bid?
No.
This is just so they can get the permit application in right
To DOT?
now.
Right.
Is it, we looked at some preliminary plans.
We have the plans from Erdman Anthony that were done 2 years ago.
Right.
And then it was held up with the project, Rhinebeck Village Place project, and now it's held up. They're ready to go, but we are waiting for the DOT to give us the go-ahead to do the work.
So then it will go out to bid?
Yes. Go out to bid after we get the DOT permits. Yeah.
Wouldn't the contractor has to give the DOT?
I think the village is going to get the maintenance obligation on it.
Those are not two separate things?
Well, the
Resource
resolution deals
obligation.
with the maintenance obligation, and our engineer is filing for the permit.
They wanted the maintenance agreement before they give us the permit to complete the work, the way I understand it.
Saying that once the project's completed, we're gonna maintain it.
That's fine, but I think the permit should be held by the constructor.
Look, I don't know who has, that's right now the engineer's filing that. I don't know who they're filing it on behalf of.
Well, we'll see when it comes out in the specification, right, or the RFP.
So on our sign-in sheet, we have Bill Clark, got a highway comment, request.
It's just like going to the principal's office.
Well,
You have to wait an hour and a half.
That's right.
Lots of
I'm
bad
familiar with the
news
principal's
Friday.
office. Up on Route 9, across from the hospital entrance, I have that gray house, and there's a 200-foot open ditch there. Last winter, a car slid in there. We pulled it out. It's hard to keep clean, filled with leaves, litter, weeds. And it cost about $8,000 to culvert that catch basin, do all the work. And I was hoping to get the village to participate for the cost of the materials, which are around about $2,300.
Would that only be in front of your property, or
Yes.
because it's the whole, doesn't it go the whole?
It
3 or 4
goes all the way
properties?
up there. I don't own the place to the north, but
Right.
that issue in front of my building happened
snowy day, cars in and out of the hospital, somebody skidded over, you know, we pulled them out. If there hadn't been a ditch, they would have just slid out onto the lawn. You know, if you guys can see your way clear to help with that, it would be great.
So you're gonna do the work when you're asking us?
Well, I can't do the work because I don't have I'm not bonded, and I don't have a permit to work in the state right away. See, initially, when I talked to Chuck Walters, I thought that this would be a state responsibility, but he said, oh no, we don't work on anything within the village. It's the village's responsibility. Then I talked to John Fenton, and he said, I have to present it to the board, and it's up to your discretion, you know, what you do. And I'm willing to go in for 2/3 of it, and I just want to, you know, help the third if you do it. But it has to be done by a bonded contractor, bonded with the state, that has a permit to work in the state right away. I have neither.
So you're asking us to purchase the materials?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
It's a $9,000 deal, 8,000, 9,000.
And then I'm gonna have stack construction to the rest of it, because they have the necessary bonding and permits.
I mean, I think,
Can we take a look at it?
yeah, we'd obviously have to
Maybe
reach
wanna
out
do
to
the whole-
Chuck Walter too, because, you know, I could foresee if you have two culvert ends and the water, you know, now if the culvert gets plugged or something.
Well,
so-
he specified that there'd be a catch basin in the middle of this run so they could clean the culvert in either direction. And
Okay.
yes, Scott, it should go all the way up.
And Stat would they would need to get a DOT permit.
Well, they have, Scott, they have a blanket permit, but I think they have to notify.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, take a look at it.
All right,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Next,
Can I comment on that? Just quickly? We've had.
do you want to talk about the drainage on
Yeah,
Main Road?
I do. Route 9, actually.
Oh, Route
Bang for your
9.
buck tonight.
Okay. What he's saying, I agree with him. We've had several bad accidents up there over the course of 10 years. Several people went down into the culvert there and lost control. So it would be, I think, a beneficial thing to improve the safety of the highway there.
Where does this start and end?
Right on
It's
the
at
curve.
Coons, right? I mean, it goes from EA Coon all the way down.
Yeah, on the
That
curve
is-
as you're going north, it's on the
Okay.
right side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's Coon, that's the corner of it, okay. And where would it go to? Where does it just drain across the street under, does it go under it?
No, it would go all along Route 9, it'd probably go to Daylight to the hills. I think that's the way it would.
Oh, it goes that way?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have Piper, wants to talk about big bellies, I believe, or trash receptacles.
I've had a lot of, like, ever since the baskets went away, we've had a lot of problem with trash litter from, you know, people, not household garbage, you know, or not yet anyway, but just, you know, coffee cups, ice cream cups, you know, takeout containers. There's no trash receptacles north of the traffic light on Montgomery Street. The closest one is in front of Foster's parking lot. So I'm looking, I mean, ultimately, it would be great to have two up on the north side. I know that there's, like 4 or 5, and they're all on Market Street, or no, I guess the one in front of the cigar shop. So it would be really great to ultimately have two, you know, on the north side of town. I met with, I think I wrote a letter to the village, was it a couple months ago, I don't know, in August, and I talked with Heath one day, the community day or something like that. And then, but most recently, I met with John Fenton on Friday. He sent an email. Did you guys get the email? Okay. I mean, when I met with him on site, the two spots that if you looked at the images that we looked at, was kind of one of the spots was actually in front of Rhinebeck Savings Bank slash the old Central Hudson building. There's a couple of, you know, Heath had mentioned something about like the poles, like having some protection so they're not getting hit by the snowplow or whatnot. And there's a couple different poles there. I think it would be effective because people, you know, are buying their ice cream or whatever, you know, Village Pizza, walking around, you know, workers, dreamers could throw their trash out. before they get to like Oblong and Susanna over to Oblong and Hammertown, those are the two people who told me the most about trash. And then across the street, Cabin Fever and Paper Trail, so that it's just like ridiculous. People are just like leave it outside. They leave it outside. We also get a lot of beer bottles, of course, from like Liberty Tavern or any of the bars or whatever in the area. People come out and like basically smoke on our property and leave their beer bottles whatnot. So the other location that I was like looking that I would hope that you would consider is actually one of the images was there. If you got the images too from that email, was right by kind of in front of like Paper Trail. I thought that would be a good location because it's far enough away from Liberty Tavern's outdoor seating. Gigi's is far enough away 'cause it's across the street. It's not blocking any signage, and it wouldn't have an issue with any landscaping. And I did talk to Paper Trail and I talked to Cabin Fever, about location and it wouldn't be up against the building, so they seemed to be okay with it. The only thing I was concerned about was bees, because I know that the one over by like the old gelato place used to have like mad bees and stuff like that, but I don't really know how. I don't know if you guys like maintain these at all, or I don't know really the gist of it. But
they're empty once or twice a week. We never had any complaints about bees, though.
Okay, maybe it was just when it was the gelato place was there. Maybe it's not really an issue anymore because the amount of ice cream or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when I talked to John, he had talked about the smaller version, which is basically I think commingles and like beer, like not beer bottles, but like bottles and basically garbage. Like we don't need a newspaper thing or anything like that.
Right, when we first bought them, they didn't have the option of the commingled one, so we had to buy 3.
Okay.
One for garbage, one for paper, one for bottles and cans. So now we can just buy garbage one and the one for the bottles and cans and paper all together.
Okay.
And now it's 2 compactors. Originally it was the trash compactor and 2 bins for the split recycling, and now the last 3? Yes, or 2. The last 3 are only 2 bins, and they compact the trash and compact the commingled recycling, which is how we have it shipped and removed anyway.
Okay. So I guess I was interested in knowing what the board.
Well, the last, how many do we have total now? 8 maybe? 6?
I think there's one by the post office, one by the smoke shop, one by Foster's.
Market Street.
The south and east sides are, the east side of town has 3. There's one in municipal lot, the bank lot, and in front of CVS. The south side has 2 in front of the smoke shop and the post office. The north side has 1 in front of Foster's, and
It's
the
in front of
west.
Foster's parking lot, yeah.
Yeah, and the west side has 1.
By Market Street,
East
the
of Market
restaurant.
Street.
Yeah, we moved it down. So the other location we had considered with that last one was on the east side of Montgomery Street, which is one of the locations you're talking about.
And by the Rhinebeck Savings Bank.
Somewhere on the east side there. We took a tour. Let's do that again once. So, yeah, we'll take a tour. We'll get a cup of coffee and see where we finish it. See how it goes. Sean's got ice cream. But the issue is all of our big valleys have been funded through grants.
Okay.
Right, so it's sometimes a lengthy process from the time we identify the spot to when we install one.
Yeah, I think it's around, what is it, $6,000 or $7,000 for the 2.
Yep, for the double bin.
Compact is the most costly one.
Yeah, the 2 compartment ones were between 6 and 8. I think the last one was 18,000 for 3 maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. So, we just have to work up. I'm assuming we'll try to apply for a grant again.
I realize you can't give me an exact time frame or whatever, but can you give me any sort of like estimate of how long it typically takes? If you get the grant, I guess?
If we get the grant, it doesn't take long.
How long, is this like a couple months, or is this like 6 months, or 12 months?
6 months. 6 months to a year.
Okay. Okay, and would you also consider doing one on the other side of the street at 6423 Montgomery Street?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll look at the locations and, you know, obviously we'll take, you know, your feedback and from what's the actual presence of trash out there, where people.
Yeah, because people,
where we
if
need it.
they're, you know, papers or whatever, wherever, if they're on that block, whatever, they're not gonna, they don't walk down to like the Foster's, like parking lot
Right.
1, and they're not gonna walk across the street, unfortunately.
Well,
Okay,
No, I think that the emails that I looked at were really helpful in framing the issue, and I think it's just a matter of the board having an opportunity
Okay.
to go out there and
okay,
take a look for ourselves and discuss it.
Yeah, it's a
Process.
transition in progress, because
Yeah.
as we took down all the baskets, sometimes the ones up there were never filled, whereas the ones on the corner, particularly the one by the smoke shop was, you know, that's emptied and overflowing within an hour.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
it's where the traffic jams, where the people are crossing the street, yeah, we've only had one basket up where we are.
Right.
Can you give me an idea of what Sinterklaas is going to do during garbage? Because one of my tenants actually asked me, they're like, is there any way this is garbage gonna happen for Sinterklaas? I'm like, thinking to myself, highly unlikely, but you know. You know, I
We
mean,
do
what
have
do
a-
they actually do? Do they add extra trash cans or something like that?
No, but we will be emptying, the receptacles that we do have will be emptied based on, you know, the crowd, and as they're filled, they'll be emptied throughout the day.
Okay, but.
So we do have
I know.
we do have a Sinterklaas workshop on Thursday
Okay,
evening at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Please feel free to attend and voice your concern about the trash, because that's what the workshop is all about, is working out the logistics
okay.
within the village.
And when is that? Sorry.
Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Like
It'll be
2 days?
downstairs.
Yeah, 2 days.
Okay, thank
2
you.
days. Yep, thanks, Piper. Planning and zoning, anything you guys want to? We have a report on the fees collected.
The building department collected $500 for 3 CO searches, $3,400.99 for 8 building permits. Looks like the planning board had a sign application fee for $75, site plan application fee, there's 4 of those for $600, special permit site plan fee, there was 2 of those for a total of $300. Then there was 2 applications for area variances for a total of $400, and it looks like there was a deposit of $3,500 into the escrow account for the Knollwood Part 2 project.
So for the police reports, for October, there were 32 incidents in the town, 105 in the village, 13 tickets in the town, 100 tickets in the village, a total of 10 arrests and 12 accidents. There were about 900 runners for the Running Away Half Marathon on October 11th. They set up a speed trailer on Route 9 near Asher, between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. Also on October 11th, same day. They have 988 cars with 844 of them traveling between 31 and 45. So, seems to be a slightly different statistic than we normally get. And then one on Astor Drive on 1027. Only 4 vehicles were traveling over 46 miles per hour, so seems to be about the best compliance we've ever reported. So, thank you for obeying the speed limits out there, appreciate it. Committees?
Well, there's no official tree commission report this month because we were getting ready for our tree planting. We have one member of the tree committee here, Walter. We planted 9 trees this past Saturday throughout the village, and a few of the members of the tree commission also helped out on Sunday. We planted 22 trees in the Thompson Mazzarella Park, and we were also helped by the Rotary Club and the Interact Club. So we had a busy weekend this past weekend, planting a lot of trees. We need more leaves on the ground. There's not enough leaves on the ground to pick up. So, and also want to report John Fenton our superintendent of public works have met with us, official from Central Hudson, to look at all the trees in the village. He went down every street and looked at trees to see which trees are dead and might be affecting wires. So he's going to come up with a list that he and the official from Central Hudson came up with to help us take down some of those trees. And we didn't have any requests for any tree takedowns. I think they came in late for our meeting, so we'll look at them for next month. So that's it for the tree commission.
Okay. I have nothing for the Parks and Recreation Committee this month. On to special requests. There's this first one from the American Cancer Fund for Children. Anybody know anything about this one? Does anyone feel so inclined to move on with that one?
What are they looking to do?
I want a proclamation for... I'm not familiar with the organization. Anybody else?
No.
So then we have, well, we'll go to, I know we didn't move it too far up here in the list, but we have Wolfgang Herting. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Well, come on up, and we got your application here we're looking at for filming.
Yeah, thank you for your time. My name is Wolfgang Herting. I'm the location manager for Love After Love, an independent feature film being developed by Parts and Labor, which is Brooklyn-based, starring Andy McDowell and Chris O'Dowd. We were looking to, I believe in the application I put the date range between the 1st and the 4th. We've actually since refined our schedule a little bit. So we'd be just looking to film on the 3rd and 4th of December, which is a Wednesday and a Thursday. And it would be entirely within the property located at 46 Livingston Street. It's just nothing too crazy, just like a few like dinner scenes and like some, dialogues that take place inside of a house.
Okay. So it's completely on the private property?
Yeah, yeah. We would be looking to potentially park a couple trucks on Mulberry Street. We have 4 altogether. I think we might be able to use their driveway for 1 or 2 of them. But that would just be during our filming hours, and then we'd take those back to our base camp over in Kingston when we're finished.
Okay. Do we need to approve it if it's within their house?
Well, it's not, if it's not on any village property, it's, other than the parking on the street, it's not restricted, I would assume.
Is that in the permit area on Livingston Street?
No, you got a Mulberry.
Well, it did say
Or the property is located in the intersection of Mulberry and Livingston.
That's an intersection, that's not for me.
Okay.
Is this going to be done 2 o'clock in the morning?
You'll be finishing up. I think the latest we have on our schedule is 1. We might be doing some like cleanup around then, but it'll be respectfully, I'll be on top of my people to, keep noise to a minimum.
No, I'm just questioning, we have an ordinance which begins November 15th about parking on the village streets.
Right, overnight parking.
Or after 12, midnight. So you might be on the street for an hour. I'd like to maybe make them exempt for an hour or 2.
I appreciate that.
Do that.
For an event, so there's no reason why we couldn't.
Okay.
Within your control, also you're just right into the pool.
I guess so. Yeah. Or we just ask.
We just tell people.
Just tell, let the police department know, we'll probably be okay. I don't think we need to.
It's 3 or 4 vehicles, you're saying?
Yeah, I think we have all together in our company, we have 5, but one's kind of like a art truck, has like our, we put furniture and props and stuff on that, so that won't be like living on the street there.
But you're not even asking to reserve a parking space?
No, not necessarily. We'd just be,
Okay.
taking it as it comes there.
Okay.
But it's generally, for what I've seen there, it's not too
Okay.
crowded, so I'm not particularly worried.
Unless there's a blizzard, probably.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, so it's 2 a.m. on the 5th, because the 5th is Central Hall, so, okay.
Yeah, the 5th, that's a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have our filming finished on the 4th. We might be
Right,
cleaning up, like just kind of putting the house back the way we found it on the 5th, but we wouldn't be doing any real heavy activity, just kind of, packing up.
Okay. Well, I think the official statement is good luck.
Cool, yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Did anybody else get this? No. Okay.
We can do that
On Thursday? Yeah. Maybe.
They approved it last year, so.
Yeah, planning board.
Yeah.
The Porch Fest, do we have the dates that they were looking at, Pat? That one's not in here, right? You can look it over.
September 17 and September 24,
All right, so,
2016.
so Porch Fest was asking us to look at the 2 dates as one of the things that they wanted to, that we asked of them what the date was.
We have our master calendar.
I think Pat already checked it, Andy checked it at the fairgrounds. There's nothing,
Fairgrounds gate, we have nothing on our calendar.
there's nothing, so do we want to?
Just say there's nothing on the calendar.
Yeah, so I think she wants us to pick one of those two. How about we let her pick one?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever works best for her. As of right now, there's nothing on those 2 days. Okay. We're just getting to the exciting stuff, aren't we?
Well, Porch Fest is, I think, is a great idea, great idea.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Moving along here. I don't see anyone else. Do you have anything you want to say, Walter? I know you're not on the list.
Oh, you're doing a heck of a job right here.
Thank you. Pat has to announce some business related to the March election.
The annual village election will take place on Tuesday, March 15, 2016. And the notice I will be placing will be for the following candidates which will be running for office: trustee 1-year term, trustee 2-year term, and trustee 2-year term. I will be placing this notice as a legal notice once the board. Okay?
Okay.
It's required.
It's required.
Yeah. We don't have to take any action. You're gonna do it, Pat. So, okay. Thank you. Anybody else got anything they missed? No? So I will make a motion to enter executive session.
We had 3 sets of minutes. Do you want?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I'm good to go with those.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently we don't have to approve the minutes, according to Pat's research.
That's what I was told at NICOM.
You don't have to. I mean,
Yeah.
if the board wants to look at them and make any corrections, it's
I think the plan will be that, the future plan is for Pat to prepare them, get them out, and then at the following meeting, if we don't have any, we get the comments to her beforehand and then approve them at the meeting. If no one has any comments for like this month, at the December meeting, then we'll approve the whoever wants. So I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from 9/8, 10/13, and 10/17 of 2015.
Second.
No discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
So now I'll make the motion to enter into executive session to discuss the employment of an individual as well as contract negotiations.
Are we gonna go? Second.
Discussion? All's in favor?
Aye. Are we going back into regular meeting?
No, we're not. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, close the meeting.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.